I remember the day like it was yesterday. My 6-year-old great-granddaughter climbed onto my lap for our usual afternoon story time. She looked up at me with those innocent blue eyes, wrinkled her nose, and asked, "Grandpa, why do you smell different than Daddy?" The room went silent. My daughter-in-law gasped. My son quickly tried to scold her, but I just sat there, feeling that familiar wave of embarrassment wash over me. Have you ever had a moment like that? When someone, especially a child, points out something about your body that you thought no one noticed, something you've been trying to ignore yourself. The truth is, as we age, our bodies change in ways no one prepares us for, ways that can leave us feeling isolated, embarrassed, or even avoided by the very people we love most. I know, because I've experienced it myself, and because thousands of my patients have confided in me about it over my 6 decades of medical practice. I'm Dr. Harold Montgomery. I'm 91 years old, and yes, I still practice medicine 3 days a week at the Senior Wellness Center I founded in 1982. I graduated from medical school in 1958, back when doctors still made house calls, and when the medical community paid very little attention to the unique health challenges of aging. Back then, we were told to simply accept the inevitable decline that came with growing older. But I refused to accept that then, and I refuse to accept it now, both as a doctor and as someone who's lived through 9 decades of life's ups and downs. You see, over my career, I've treated more than 40,000 patients, and in the last 30 years, I've specialized exclusively in geriatric medicine. I've seen the same patterns repeat themselves hundreds of times. I've heard the same painful stories from seniors just like you. Margaret, age 78, who stopped attending her weekly bridge club because she overheard someone commenting about an odor when she reached across the table. Richard, 82, whose grandchildren started giving him side hugs instead of climbing onto his lap like they used to. Evelyn, 75, whose husband of 50 years started sleeping in the guest bedroom, blaming his snoring, but she suspected there was another reason. These stories break my heart because I know the isolation that follows. I know the shame that creeps in. The way you start to withdraw, little by little, from the social connections that are so vital to our health and happiness in our golden years. What pains me most is that in almost every case, these problems were completely preventable and treatable. But no one had ever told these patients the truth about what was happening to their bodies, and more importantly, what they could do about it. You see, as we age, our bodies undergo specific changes that medical textbooks barely mention and that most doctors, even well-meaning ones, rarely discuss with their older patients. Our sweat glands change dramatically after age 65, producing less volume but more concentrated compounds. The pH balance of our skin shifts, becoming more alkaline, which attracts different bacteria than when we were younger. Our sense of smell diminishes by up to 75% in our later years, meaning we often can't detect our own body odors that others can. In fact, studies show that by age 80, most of us can only detect about 25% of the odors we could in our youth. And finally, this is the part no one talks about. The microscopic composition of the oils in our skin transforms, breaking down differently and creating compounds that simply weren't present in our bodies when we were younger. None of this is your fault. It's simple biology, simple chemistry, and no one ever prepared us for it. But here's what I want you to know today. What I've spent the last 20 years of my career proving with my patients. These changes don't have to control your social life or impact your relationships with the people you love. There's a simple protocol that can address these challenges, a daily routine that takes less than 4 minutes, costs almost nothing, and can be done right at home, no matter your mobility level. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you the exact 4-area cleaning protocol that has transformed the lives of thousands of my patients. People who went from being self-conscious and withdrawn to confident and socially active again. The best part? Most people start noticing improvements within just 7 days, and their families notice too, even if they never directly mention it. Before I walk you through each step in detail, I want to emphasize this isn't about covering up problems with expensive products or harsh chemicals. This is about working with your body's natural changes in a gentle, respectful way that preserves your dignity while enhancing your quality of life. Now let me walk you through the 4 secret areas that need special attention as we age, areas that most hygiene advice completely overlooks, especially for seniors. Secret area number 1, behind the ears and along the hairline. This first area might surprise you. We all know to wash our ears, but the specific zone that requires special attention is actually the crease where your ear meets your scalp and then extending along your hairline, especially at the nape of your neck. As we age, the oil-producing glands in these areas remain quite active, but the composition of that oil changes significantly. It becomes richer in a compound called squalene, which oxidizes quickly when exposed to air. Here's exactly what to do. Take a soft washcloth, not a rough one. We don't want to irritate the skin. Dampen it with warm water and apply a small amount of mild soap. I recommend glycerin-based soaps rather than harsh detergents. Gently trace the entire outline where your ear meets your head, using your middle finger behind the cloth to feel the crease. Then, with the same cloth, trace your entire hairline from your temples, across your forehead, and especially to the back of your neck. Rinse thoroughly with clean, warm water, using a separate cloth. For those with limited mobility who find reaching the back of the neck difficult, I recommend what I call the washcloth wand. Simply take a clean washcloth, fold it lengthwise, and clip it to a long wooden cooking spoon using 2 rubber bands. This creates an extended reach that makes the back hairline accessible without straining. What's happening when you clean this area is fascinating. You're removing the oxidized oils that have developed a distinct scent, one that's particularly noticeable to others when you're in close proximity, like when hugging a grandchild or leaning in during conversation. Secret area number 2, the triangle zone under the arms. The second critical area requires understanding what I call the triangle zone. Most of us wash directly in our armpit, which is good but incomplete. A triangle zone extends from your armpit down the side of your torso about 4 inches, and then across the side of your chest by about 3 inches. This creates a triangular area that collects and disperses body odors in ways unique to older adults. Here's why this happens. As we age, our apocrine sweat glands, the special ones located primarily in our armpits, actually enlarge even as they produce less fluid. This creates a more concentrated secretion that spreads beyond the immediate armpit area onto adjacent skin. Here's the proper technique. In the shower or during your sponge bath, use a soft cloth with mild soap. Starting at your armpit, wash in a deliberate triangular pattern, down the side of your ribs about 4 inches, then across toward your chest about 3 inches, then back up to your armpit. Use gentle circular motions rather than harsh scrubbing. Always rinse thoroughly, as soap residue can actually contribute to odor when it combines with your body's natural compounds. For seniors with arthritis or shoulder limitations, I recommend using a long-handled bath sponge for this area. But here's a special tip. Attach the sponge to the handle using a rubber band rather than the usual tight string most commercial products use. This allows you to change the angle of the sponge head to better reach the triangle zone without straining your shoulder. After bathing, I recommend applying a light dusting of cornstarch, not talcum powder, to the area. Cornstarch is gentle, absorbs moisture throughout the day, and doesn't contain the potentially harmful ingredients found in many commercial products. Secret area number 3. The lower back and tailbone region. This third area is perhaps the most overlooked in standard hygiene practices, yet it's critically important as we age. The lower back, particularly the small hollow just above the tailbone, contains a concentration of sweat glands that remain quite active into our 80s and 90s. What's particularly interesting about this area is that the sweat produced here contains higher levels of proteins and fatty acids than other body regions. When these compounds interact with skin bacteria, which also changes as we age, they create metabolites with distinctive odors. Here's the proper cleaning technique. Use a handheld shower attachment if possible, directing warm water specifically to your lower back area. Apply a small amount of mild, fragrance-free soap to a soft cloth. Reach behind and wash in gentle circular motions, concentrating on the small hollow just above your tailbone. If reaching is difficult, use what I call the helping hand tool, a soft cloth secured to a long-handled bath brush with the brush head removed. Rinse thoroughly, again using the handheld shower attachment if available. For those with more limited mobility, I've found that a shower bench or seat positioned correctly allows you to lean forward slightly, making this area more accessible without risking your balance. After cleansing, thoroughly dry the area. Moisture trapped here can contribute significantly to odor development. A trick I recommend to my patients is to use your hairdryer on the cool setting, held about 12 inches from your body, to ensure the area is completely dry, especially for those who can't easily reach behind with a towel. What you're doing with this focused care is disrupting the cycle of bacterial growth that occurs specifically in this region. This bacterial action is a primary source of what geriatricians call age-associated body odor changes, which can be detected by others even through clothing. Secret area number 4. Between and under the toes. The fourth and final secret area is one we rarely discuss in polite company. But as your doctor, I need to be frank with you. The spaces between and underneath your toes require special attention as you age, regardless of how mobile or active you are. Here's why. As we get older, the skin between our toes thins and becomes more permeable. At the same time, circulation to our extremities often decreases, creating the perfect environment for fungal growth. These fungi break down skin cells and produce sulfur compounds with distinctive odors. Even more importantly, the temperature and moisture regulation systems in our feet change dramatically after age 70, often creating microenvironments that younger adults simply don't experience. Here's the proper technique. Sit safely on a chair or bench with a hand towel across your lap. Fill a basin with warm, not hot, water and add 2 tablespoons of baking soda. Soak your feet for 5 to 7 minutes. Using a soft washcloth, gently clean between each toe, paying special attention to both the webs between toes and the undersides. Dry thoroughly, again focusing on between and under each toe. For those with limited flexibility, I recommend what I call a toe wand, a 12-inch wooden craft stick with a small washcloth secured to the end with a rubber band. This allows you to reach between toes without bending down. After cleaning and drying, apply a light dusting of cornstarch or a specialized foot powder. The key here isn't to mask odors, but to create an environment where odor-causing bacteria and fungi cannot thrive. For my patients with diabetes or circulation issues, I recommend performing this cleansing in the evening and then wearing clean, 100% cotton socks to bed. This maintains a clean environment throughout the night while you sleep. Following this protocol not only addresses existing odors but prevents the development of more serious foot conditions that become increasingly common after age 75. Now let me tell you about a few of my patients who've experienced remarkable transformations after implementing this simple 4-area protocol. There's Martha, who at 83 had gradually withdrawn from her church choir, something she'd loved for decades. When I asked why, she reluctantly admitted that she'd overheard younger members commenting about that smell when she sat in the close quarters of the choir loft. Martha was devastated and embarrassed. I shared this 4-area protocol with her, and she promised to try it for 2 weeks. 3 weeks later, she called my office in tears, not of sadness, but joy. The choir director had personally asked her why she'd been absent and insisted she return. She's been back singing every Sunday for the past 3 years. Then there's James, 79, a widower who lives with his son's family. James noticed that his teenage grandchildren would quickly break away from hugs, something that hadn't happened when they were younger. He assumed it was just adolescence until his daughter-in-law gently suggested he visit me. After just 10 days on this protocol, his 15-year-old granddaughter actually commented, "Grandpa, you smell nice today, like clean laundry." For James, this simple comment restored a physical closeness with his family that he thought he'd lost forever. And I can't forget Eleanor, 88, who lived in an assisted living facility. The staff had been applying commercial deodorants and perfumes to her daily, which actually made the situation worse by creating a confusing mix of artificial and natural body odors. When her daughter learned about my 4-area protocol and implemented it with her mother, the transformation was remarkable. Within 2 weeks, Eleanor was joining the community dining room again, after months of taking meals alone in her room. 6 months later, she was elected to the resident council, a social re-engagement that her daughter attributes directly to restoring her mother's confidence. These stories remind me every day that what we're really talking about isn't just hygiene. It's dignity. It's connection. It's continuing to live fully engaged lives regardless of our age. I want to emphasize something important. It's never too late to make these changes. Whether you're 65 or 95, your body responds to proper care. The bacterial balance on your skin can shift in positive directions in as little as 72 hours after implementing proper cleansing techniques. I've seen it thousands of times in my practice. Patients who thought they would have to accept declining social interactions as just part of getting old discovered they could reclaim the physical closeness that makes life so rich and meaningful. So here's what I'm asking of you today. Try this 4-area protocol for just 7 days. That's all. 1 week of your life, 4 minutes a day. Notice how you feel. Notice if people respond to you differently. Notice if you feel more confident in close conversations, more comfortable when your grandchildren want to sit on your lap, more at ease when joining friends for dinner. Your family may never mention the change directly. These matters remain somewhat taboo in our society, even among loved ones. But you'll see it in their body language. You'll feel it in the length of their hugs. You'll know it by the increasing frequency of their visits. More importantly, you'll feel it in yourself, a renewed confidence that comes from knowing you're addressing something that concerns many seniors, but that few ever discuss openly. I've dedicated the latter part of my career to breaking the silence around these normal body changes because I've seen how this simple protocol can transform lives, how it can bring families closer together, how it can restore social connections that nurture our souls as we age. You deserve those connections. You deserve that closeness. You deserve to age with dignity, confidence, and joy. If you found this information helpful today, please consider sharing it with other seniors in your life. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give each other is acknowledging these unspoken challenges and sharing simple solutions. Until next time, this is Dr. Harold Montgomery, wishing you health, happiness, and many, many warm hugs from those you love most. Remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more straightforward, dignified advice about the real challenges of aging. The challenges other doctors may be too uncomfortable to discuss. And please leave a comment below if you have questions or if you've experienced similar concerns. You're not alone, and this community is here to support you. Thank you for your time today. Now go try that protocol, and I'll see you next week with more guidance for living our best lives in our golden years.